In this week's reading, we read Chapter 4, How Standardized Tests Are Used with Infants and Young Children. And how I connected with this chapter is growing up, I took FCAT and taking ACT and SAT. We had to take science, reading, math, and writing FCATs from 3rd grade until we were about sophomores in high school. And then around that time, that's when you started to take SAT and ACT. So I've connected with that as I've had experience with taking standardized tests. And going into the profession we are, we have to take a few standardized tests as well to be able to become licensed teachers, the GKT and the teacher certification test. So I'm pretty familiar with standardized tests and how they work and the concepts of them, as feeling the pressure of needing to excel and to make that certain grade or score so that I would be able to move on to the next grade for FCAT in that case, or to be able to get into a certain college or receive different scholarships like Bright Futures for my SAT and ACT scores. I had a lot of difficulty with standardized tests. I have test anxiety. I'm a really good student and I know all this stuff, but when it gets to the test, I panic and I freak out and I don't do as well as I should. And so that I've always had a very difficult time with standardized tests, and they're not my favorite thing. And I work in a school and I see the pressure and the stress these 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are in taking these tests, and I feel for them, and I feel for the teachers too that are having so much more pressure than when I was in elementary school. The pressure of the teachers is so different now. What it extended my thoughts and what I learned about is how many standardized tests there are. My mind only thought there was FCAT and SAT and ACT. So looking in the chapter and seeing how many tests there are and how many different ways they're used, not just to make sure that you know to make sure you're in the norm, but to be able to detect any development issues or any specific issues that you may have. And each test that they have gets more specified and more specific for the certain difficulties that a child may have. So that was really interesting for me to see a different reason and aspect of why the standardized tests are used. My challenge, though, is why there are so many and why the pressure is so heightened for these kids. I feel that it's almost developmentally inappropriate for these kids. I don't think it's appropriate for their age to feel this stress and how many tests. I know for 5th grade FSA, they took reading, writing, science, and math, and this was over a course of a month, and they had at least, I would say, almost 6 or 7 days worth of testing taken out of curriculum for these teachers. And at that point, and now it's so late in the year, it's almost the kids are over and done with schooling. So I just wish that standardized tests weren't used as what they are and put at such a high level, because I feel that teachers and students are extremely stressed out. We're putting too much pressure on them when we should be focusing on other aspects of the education and curriculum. We should be expanding it and helping these kids instead of pressuring them to excel in a test, because not everyone's good at taking tests, and life isn't about taking tests. So I feel like we need to widen our horizons with that.